Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the mother of all episodes of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Oh,
Scary.
monster. And speaking of monsters, right? Right?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes, I do.
Yeah, we're going right back there. We're going right back to the monsters and how they're made and how they're brought to the screen.
Performed.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
But before we get to that,
yes,
I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, like we've been teasing, we're going to go back to an episode we did a long time ago with someone who we really, really love. And that episode was Monster Acting.
Monster Acting.
Monster Acting. Now, this episode was done with Doug Jones, and we all
Yes.
love Doug. And Doug has gone on
blown up.
to do amazing things. Yes.
He's too big for us now.
And we love everything he does. And as we all know, he is like the nicest man in the world. He is
Yes.
a
It
beautiful,
really is.
lovely
Yeah.
person. But we had him on quite a few years ago. And a lot has happened since then. And a lot of movies have come out. And there are always new people entering this area of acting. And there are some that just knock our socks off. So to cut to the chase here, this episode, the topic of this episode is Monster Acting Volume 2.
Monster Acting Volume 2.
Monster Acting Volume
Dun, dun,
2.
dun.
I mean, look. Let's face it. You know,
Let's face it.
Doug can't do everything.
And Doug is
There's
one man. And
He's one man.
And there are other amazingly talented people out there who bring their own flavor to these types of performances.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
True.
And speaking of which, our guest for this episode is nothing short of a talent tour de force. Yes.
Oh, I'm so
tour de
excited.
force. I said it.
I'm so excited.
He's an actor, musician, and a songwriter who, aside from lending his diverse talents to numerous TV shows, has written and performed in many productions, including Jurassic Park, the musical, and my favorite, The Shining, the musical.
Oh.
So good. But our guest recently gave Monster Kids All Over a love letter of a performance as the mother in the smash hit horror film Barbarian.
Oh.
Welcome, Matthew Patrick Davis.
Matthew Patrick Davis.
Yay.
Welcome. Hello there. It's me, the mother. Hello.
Oh,
Hey, Mom.
now,
It's great going home, isn't it?
Yeah.
now we do have to say this is a bit of a spoiler for the
Yes.
folks at
I mean,
home.
just by saying the mother, if you haven't seen the film, then, maybe just wait to listen to this until you have.
But you must go out and see Barbarian.
It is so
Yeah.
good. It's so much
It's fantastic.
fun. There's so many wonderful things about it. First of all,
Yes.
just the build, the acting.
Yes.
Every performance is just spot on, right on the money.
But also a very efficiently told film.
Yes.
It's very
Yes.
it's done on a small budget, but done very well. It looks really good.
Looks great.
It's a very good claustrophobic, scary movie.
Mhm.
But
and lots
also-
of twists and turns. And
Yes.
But the logic of the opening and how the situation, it's, to me, I loved what happened, how this happened. It's very timely in a way.
But to cut to the chase of your character, you play a pivotal role. You are, and I even hate to call this character a monster. It's
That's right.
actually a victim.
Yeah,
Exactly. True.
Yeah, someone who is in this situation by no fault of her own, really. And so you play the mother, and this role is so good. It's nuanced. It's not just a frightening monster character. There's a sentimental quality.
Tragic.
You create a lot of sympathy
Sadness.
and sadness. It's just so good. Just the little things that you do. And I'm just curious, how did you even go from, because we know that you do a lot of music and you do compositions for shows and you sing. You have a beautiful singing voice, by the way.
Oh, Pshaw. Thank you.
Yeah. And I love all your videos and I love your songs. But to go from that to something like this is quite a jump. And how exactly did that occur?
Oh boy. Well, thank you for all your kind words. I'm very grateful to have been able to play like the mother and play a, yes, quote unquote monster that you have empathy for. I like that Zach, the writer director, Zach Krager, chose that route. And I think it has a long tradition, like whether it's King Kong or Frankenstein, like all these, like the classic monsters, you empathize with them in the end. And you,
Right.
Yes.
maybe they're victims of their circumstances more.
Sure.
So I was so grateful that Zach gave me that to chew on and to deal with. Yeah, I mean, one of the first things he told me was to Google feral children, and I didn't even know what that really meant.
Really?
But
Oh.
I went down this dark rabbit hole of like, yeah, kids raised in captivity, treated like animals, like never spoken to, and therefore never learned to speak.
Right.
And the footage of these people, like 20 years later, and they're described as like 2-year-olds within a 20-year-old's body or that kind of thing.
Right.
Mhm.
It was deeply depressing, but as an actor, it was like, it gave me empathy for the character. I was
Sure.
grateful for that. And then as a YouTube user, my YouTube account's probably flagged from watching all this.
Right.
It was about deep
Right.
child abuse, Yeah, so I was grateful that it wasn't just a scary person that goes rawr.
Right. And Matthew,
Right.
without giving too much away, could you give us a setup of the very basic premise of the movie?
Well, an Airbnb is double booked in a kind of a shady part of town. A man is already in there. A woman is outside, and then it turns out that is not the thing that you think is the scary thing is not the scary.
Right. And there's more to that place and more to the characters than you think.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
spoiler alert, my character is involved. The mother,
Right.
a large naked feral woman.
But the way it unfolds, like I said, the way it unfolds, the amazingly genius red herring, which
Yes.
I will say in the casting of a particular character, that character carries a certain kind of baggage in the horror industry. And then that character not being what you think it is, that's the best way that a horror film can work, is that it takes you in a completely different direction a couple of different times with a couple of different characters. And that's what I really, really like.
Yeah,
Yes.
Zach did a great job casting against type.
Yeah.
With both Bill and with Justin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill
Bill's-
Skarsgård, Justin Long. I don't think
Yes.
it's a spoiler to say that they're in the movie.
No.
Right.
No.
And they're both brilliant.
They are.
Yes, they really are.
Everyone I thought was really great, and it just surprised me where it went, and it didn't go where I thought it was going to go.
No, and also it did something which many horror films are not able to do, and that is come up with a believable reason why certain characters stay where they are and do the things they do.
Yes.
It's never like, that's stupid, who's going to do that? But they give good reasons of why they do it, which I thought, again, it makes all the difference.
Questions were answered as I was watching.
Yes, exactly.
Right. I never felt like it insulted my intelligence, so that I
Right.
wanted to scream at a character, no, don't do that. Don't go there.
Or even like in certain flashbacks, the way they flash back to
Yes.
explain things, they don't like spoon feed it to you. They just
No.
kind of do it in a stylized way that is very clever, and it works really well.
And these moments of, should I help someone or do I save
Yeah.
myself? And that moral decision.
Yeah, I think Georgina, who plays the lead, Tess in the movie, she in a Q&A described her character as like someone who's like in an earthquake and gets out, but then goes back in to like save other people and help
Yeah.
other people.
Totally,
That explains
totally.
a lot about why she does what she does. She doesn't know she's in a horror movie.
Right, exactly.
Right.
All of us watching are like screaming at her, like, stop going back there.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Definitely just stop, go see it,
Pause.
and then come back. But I did want to ask Matthew, so you are in some kind of a unique costume, if you will, and it has these very strange breasts, if you will.
They're not strange. They're beautiful.
They are. They are. You know what?
But yeah, like was it? That's
They're life giving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess that's the question. Was it a full body suit? Was it like a lot of was it parts of it? Like how much it was really you there, and how much was makeup?
A lot was me, actually. I mean, when I first read the script, I thought it was, so here's my teats. I read the script, I thought, and assumed it would be like a full body suit,
Right.
And, on the first Zoom call with Zach Krager, the writer-director, he was like, is this even anything you'd want to do? And I'm like, why? Because prosthetics are uncomfortable. And he's like, no, because you'd be naked, man, ass out.
Oh, wow.
Well, but you know that I'm not a large naked feral woman, so I'm not going to be totally naked by definition. I'm going to have some coverage,
Right.
But sure enough, yeah. I mean, so it was a head prosthetic with the wig on it. It was some face prosthetics, and then it was like a chest thing, and then a crotch thing, and then the rest was all me, baby. It was my stomach and sure enough, my ass and my arms and legs, and these like 5 or 6 Bulgarian makeup artists like painted and put glued things on my body every day. It was very strange.
Wow.
Just a
Now,
normal day.
Was it shot in Bulgaria?
It was.
Wow.
No, they didn't ship Bulgarians in, Sean.
But that's interesting. Why Bulgaria? What was the reason?
Apparently, it is cheaper to build 13 structures in a field in Bulgaria to look like a rundown street in Detroit than it is
Wow.
in Detroit.
Wow.
It's probably safer.
Yeah, that
really.
too.
Yeah, it was very safe in Sofia, Bulgaria. So anytime you're on that street, that is Bulgaria. There are
That's
little
incredible.
spots where she's driving around and driving past houses. That is all Detroit.
Right.
Not like a day or two in Detroit, but everything they built in Bulgaria, and then for the flashback, they refacaded the buildings and made them look new.
Nice.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
really effective.
Now, for listeners, your stature, you're kind of a tall, slender guy, very much like in that Doug Jones vein. Is that why the director picked you, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, they were specifically looking for, like in the script, she was described as a 7 foot tall, alabaster white, like naked woman. And so they settled.
That's what I ask for on Tinder. It's amazing.
The mother needs to go on Tinder, I think. But so they settled for 6'8".
Right.
7 feet. They got 6'8".
Wow.
But the way it's shot, it's very well done. I mean, you look towering in the film, very formidable.
And so now you have played creature characters before this. I know that you did a Sprint commercial where you're a zombie, which is really funny. And then that beautiful sketch on James Corden where you play the Xenomorph.
Well,
which is
can we talk
it was like the
that?
geeker alien in a great suit.
a
too.
really great suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were great. And for listeners, if you haven't seen it, you should find it on YouTube.
This is like an
Yes.
extended skit. on
James
right.
Corden's new girlfriend, the Alien Xenomorph. And Matthew, I had no idea it was going to be quite as elaborate as it was.
Yeah.
It's
But
perfect, really.
but also your movement and your motion.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it looked like they took an alien directly from the film and put it in this little sketch.
Yeah.
Now, did you rewatch some of the Alien films? Like, how did you get into that?
I did rewatch, but it was a quick thing. It was like I booked it and then had a fitting and then shot it. It was very fast. I didn't have a lot of time to bone up on it. Funny story. What I did have enough time to do is get food poisoning.
What?
Oh,
Before you did this
Really?
performance?
Yes. So I had the day of fitting, and then that night, I guess I ate some bad chicken or something.
Oh
The
my
next
gosh.
day, luckily, was a day off, so I was just like out for the count. But thinking about the following day, where I was gonna have like zipped and sewn into a thing,
Oh
like,
my god.
the helmet attached to the suit, and with no holes, nothing. And then in the sketch, I do projectile vomit.
Yeah.
Right.
So great. So great.
Was that really you? Does it?
That's really method acting, man. You
Wow.
get yourself to vomit
You
like
have
that.
power.
Yeah, I can do it. And so anyways, I was very grateful that I made it through that day. I hadn't eaten anything or like I couldn't even drink water really.
Wow,
So
yeah.
I was just sweating inside the suit while being dehydrated and like really hungry, but I didn't faint. So
That's good.
Yeah.
No, that was
Really.
it's great. It's
So you
great.
got all this kind of leading you to this role. And did they seek you out? Was it an audition that just came by you, or how did this come to pass?
well, so this and it was the same with the Alien Xenomorph. So my dear manager, our dear manager, right?
That's correct.
Bruce Smith. He
Lovely man.
He is a lovely man. He also represents Doug Jones.
What?
Ah.
Oh,
He
right.
represents a lot of I know I'm not telling you anything new, but he represents a lot of like comedians. And that's how I first came to him. Like I was doing a one-man musical at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. I invited him, he came, and then we were going to work together. And I'm like, great. I love all the comics on your roster. Also, I know who Doug Jones is. And that is like a plate I would love to spin in this wacky career also.
Right.
So just FYI. So since then, and then also at that time, I happened to have booked 2 prosthetic things like before signing with Bruce. I did that Sprint Zombie commercial, and then was also in a musical called Sideshow where I was playing the Geek and I was biting the head off a chicken and I had this crazy mask, and that ended up going to Broadway. I got to make my Broadway debut doing that show.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Oh,
And so it was like a wonderful kind of coincidence that I was just randomly doing these 2 prosthetics things while signing with Bruce, and I was able to say, hey, Doug Jones. So anyways, now when they come to Bruce for Doug Jones, and Doug Jones is unavailable because he works all the time, he's very busy, my managers are able to be like, I have a different tall, skinny physical actor and do the pivot, the Doug Jones pivot. So
Nice.
Xenomorph was that, Barbarian was that.
oh.
Now,
Nice.
had you met Doug before all this?
Yeah, I think I met him at Bruce's house once, and then he kindly got on a Zoom call with me once I booked it before I went to Bulgaria. We had like
cool.
a long Zoom where I got to like pick his brain about everything.
Really?
Cool.
That's
So-
so
Nice.
cool.
So the first thing he told you is don't get food poisoning, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we did talk a lot about going to the bathroom,
Yeah, right.
And
You know, people joke about that, but it's like if you're in a
Oh, yeah.
prosthetic body thing, and it's like if you need to go or if people have to keep going to you, it's like that's a delay. That's a delay, and that's time and money.
And when
It's
we had
fine.
Doug on, Doug told us that when he did The Shape of Water, there was a guy that they used for the dance sequence who got claustrophobia
Oh yeah.
inside the
Yeah.
suit and started vomiting inside the suit.
oh man,
And he
I-
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The guy
I hope there
couldn't
was a
do it.
day,
Being Doug did,
a
I
day
do it, yeah.
gap between him getting in that suit.
So what you see in the movie is really Doug Jones doing, and he says, "Look, I can do it,"
He's
and
great.
he can,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah, he was
fantastic.
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, he's so graceful. Of course, he could do it. You know, I mean, I'm so grateful I'm not claustrophobic.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, and you had contact lenses. Was there any issue with like being able to see or anything?
That was a specific thing that came from Doug because I was anticipating having creature lenses, and I'd had those in before, like for the zombie sprint commercial thing. That was like a full milky white cloud out thing, and I have
Right.
horrible vision, so I was basically blind. Like I was blurry and then seeing through cloudiness. But luckily,
Wow.
that was just like 2 people standing having a conversation, so I
Right.
could move around. This I'm gonna have to be like running through dark hallways and stuff.
Right.
So I asked Doug, I was like, do you have perfect vision or do you wear contacts? He's like, no, I have 20/20. And I'm like, oh, well, good for you.
Right.
You know, they can put your prescription in those contacts, but that requires some lead time. You might want to reach out and do that now. And I'm like, whoa, this is a good suggestion. And I called them, and sure enough, the director called me the next day, kind of in a panic, like, yeah, so these are real dark tunnels. We really don't have lights, and there's no beams. Is that going to be a problem? I'm like, yeah, probably. If I can't see.
Wow.
Got the prescription put in these like yellow.
Oh, good.
So,
Nice.
It's so funny how, you know, people, when you're growing up as a kid and you see these monster films, you say, I want to be a monster, but people don't actually realize just how long it takes to get into this costume or get into the makeup or how hot it is and how uncomfortable. It's not really a fun thing. You know, it's actually very uncomfortable.
yeah.
But Doug had mentioned about trying to get centered and really find yourself in the character and give it your all. Give it your all, and don't be one of these guys who go, oh, I need the rest. I need, they're always concerned on set about people passing out or it's like, are you comfortable? But Doug is like, let's go. Did he talk to you about that at all?
Yeah, he's like the king of a positive attitude. He's just a beam of light, and so I think that's why he gets so much work, because he never complains. So one of my questions actually was, so I asked him, I'm like, you're known for being so accommodating and so nice, but when do you advocate for yourself? Right. What are your like breaking points or your boundaries? Because it can be a kind of a dehumanizing thing too. You can kind of forget that that's a person in there.
Right. Yes.
But
good question.
His answer wasn't even, it was like, well, I've learned that if they ask me if I want water, I'll say no. So I've learned to tell, the makeup assistant, just put water in front of my face and then I'll drink it. I'm like, that isn't even, you learned to advocate for water? But it really, there were a couple times on set where I was getting uncomfortable or getting a little irritated, and I just had to channel Dougie. I was like, Doug would not complain about this. Doug would not complain. And that was helpful, actually.
I assume, too, that when you're knee deep in the part, in the role, that a lot of that stuff goes away.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the little things that can affect, like the first day, was easy breezy, and the second day I was ready, and then the second night I my brain was on fire and I just couldn't go to sleep, and then so the third day I hadn't slept, and then also they put on the face prosthetic and it was just a little lower than they had put it on the previous time, so it was kind of resting on my eyelids. I felt like I couldn't really open my eyes fully. That just that's like Chinese water torture, or just someone just leaning on you slowly. And that was day 3 was when I was noticing I'm starting to be short with people and a little irritable.
Is that a thing that you could actually on the set say, hey, this is going into my eye a little bit. Can someone come in and just kind of trim this? Or is it things are moving too fast? No, we don't have time.
Yeah. After that, I was able to I need to pay attention when they're putting it on and just make sure. Okay. Because I did tell them, but it's tough because it's already glued to your face.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. So they did try to get in there and loosen it a little and try to move it up, but it really just naturally wants to go back.
Right. Well, Matthew, can we just ask about the makeup? How many people did it take to work on you, and how long would it take to put on? And then at the end of the day, how long does it take to take off?
Yeah. The first makeup tests were 5 or 6 hours, because it was the first time everyone had done it. And
wow.
Getting it calibrated and honed and stuff. And then, but by the end of shooting, we got it down to 3 hours. Ooh, yeah, baby.
Wow.
Nothing.
But it would be 5 or 6 people working on me.
Right.
Yeah. All at once.
Wow.
Yeah, but Matthew, is that you come in early in the morning, all right, sit in the chair, and you get 3 hours worth of makeup. Okay, our 12-hour day is starting now. Now you go and you work. I mean, you film for 12 or?
They kept it under 12, which
really?
I was very surprised. I was expecting that. Also, Doug was telling me all the worst nightmare stories. I think Hellboy 2 almost broke him.
Yes.
About that of just 18-hour days, 6-day weeks for 8 months,
Yeah.
And but no, they never went over 12 hours, which I was very surprised by.
That's great.
They didn't have it in their budget to do overtime, so.
Especially historically, even back the original Frankenstein, there are stories of director James Whale just putting Boris Karloff through the ringer and just not being sensitive to his, he got a bad back out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Godzilla films, in the 60s and 70s when you had the water tank and the guy's in a rubber suit in water, or there's fire all around him, and sometimes hey, I can't get up, or
I can't
I'm on fire. Yeah. But now I think probably hopefully most filmmakers now are attentive to that, but
fingers crossed.
It's a different time, Sean. It's a different time.
I know.
Nothing ever goes wrong on a set now.
No. It's funny, Matthew, because Doug did tell us about working on Pan's Labyrinth, because it took so long to do the Pale Man, I guess, that they're running out of time to get their day. And Doug actually told them, you know what? Just leave the suit on me and I'll sleep in this and
Oh,
come in to kind of speed up for the next day.
Wow.
And we're like, dang it, Doug. And I mean, that's like an extreme where you actually stay in the whole freaking.
What kind of dreams do you have when you're in that thing?
Yeah, seriously. So you haven't had to do that yet, have you?
No. I mean,
Oh.
such a beautiful experience with going home and taking it all off and just having
Right.
it all done. So I can't imagine, just having to be like, I'll take another 24 hours of this.
Right.
Now, Matthew, obviously the character is mother. The character is female. You are not female.
Correct.
Was there ever any sort of a preconception that they would try to find a female actress to play this part, or was it always really just a matter of, the physical scale, the height, the type, and the ability to play a role like this that came more into the forefront?
I think they always were thinking it would be a man. I think because they wanted, a 7 foot tall mother. So I think that's why. I mean, and also I don't know. I do wonder, like, if they did find a large woman to do it, would that have made being on set different? Would that have made the movie different? If you're thinking like, I'm watching, yes, those are actual human breasts. I don't know. But although I've gotten some feedback where people are like, I didn't know that was a dude until the credits.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I actually did not. I did not.
No, you can't. It's
really. So you
tell at
thought
all,
you
really.
were seeing some sweet human teats.
Well,
Call me old fashioned, but
there's a scene where you lower a bottle down. Where I'm thinking, why the bottle, right?
And then you find out, it's either the bottle or the teat,
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is too about the character of Mother is she is just trying to survive, and to her, she's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
That's what's so kind of disturbing about it too. It's like she's simply a victim of circumstance, and she is existing in her world, and this is what it is. And those who enter her world, they have to do certain things. It's a murderous, dangerous character, but not an evil character.
Yeah, I think she's like anytime. And also she only kills the guys.
Right.
I do think is related to Frank being deeply abused by a man.
Right.
And then she, wants to protect Tess, who maybe sees herself in, or, maybe she's trying to protect herself in a way, or that kind of thing. But, Tess is her baby. So, so any kill could be viewed as like a defensive, protective move to, protect Tess from these men.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's another aspect of this, is that it's most of the bad behavior is perpetrated by men in this.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet the monster is a female, although sympathetic, but happens to be played by a man.
Right.
It's interesting.
It is. Yeah.
If I may, I wanted to talk a little bit about working with this director, Zach Rager. He's an actor as well as a director, but he's done a lot of like bits of television. This is his first directing feature, right?
I think he's co-directed some stuff with The Whitest Kids, and co-directed a movie that he's talked about kind of like that he's not happy with it and not proud of it. And so he does consider this his like feature debut because it's the first thing he's directed by himself.
Right. The Whitest Kids, that which I've seen. Yeah. Kind of like a kids in the hall kind of comedy troupe. Yeah.
But what's interesting about this is, he wrote this, he directed it. We've talked a bit about how it just seemed really intelligent and timely, how everything happens and how things are not quite so obvious. And I thought, this guy is really good. And I was really getting into this. And again, he teases you in such a way by when you see certain things in this environment that I really think it's going to go down a different horror route, and it doesn't. And it really surprised me. So this guy thing, I'm very excited. When I saw this, I thought I'm very excited to see what this guy does down the road. What was it like to work with him?
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited for him. Like my stuff's been blowing up lately. I can't imagine for him what this is doing for him, and everyone's going, what's next? What's next? And
Right.
anytime he's talked about the writing process, it seemed like it came from a very organic place. And he describes writing that first scene, the first thing with Georgina and Bill, like just as an exercise, like a writing exercise. He wasn't even writing a movie. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if, now that he's like has opportunities to, write movies on purpose,
Right.
he'll be able to get into that same kind of subconscious mode that he talks about when he talked about writing this.
Right.
Is he a horror fan?
Oh yeah. Big time. And actually I have big blind spots when it comes to horror. I don't seek it out on my necessarily, but so while I was there in Bulgaria last summer, I asked him and I asked Elena, who was one of the New Regency producers, who was also a big horror fan, like, okay, what should I watch while I'm here? And so that's when I like watched Hereditary for the first time. And,
Start with something light.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
my God. Oh,
If that doesn't fuck you up, right? out of the gate.
man.
I know, just alone in the dark in a hotel in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Oh, man.
Right.
Up even more was and Zach has mentioned this movie a lot as a real influence for him for Barbarian, and that's Audition. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, yep.
Well,
PK, yeah.
Oh, that one was hard
good
to
choices.
watch.
That is tough.
it is.
These
It
are
is.
rough going.
Yeah.
This is not,
Man,
he's not playing around.
He's
No.
hardcore. Yeah.
I thought he'd start with like Creature from the Black Lagoon first.
yeah.
And then
I was gonna say like
maybe-
Hocus Pocus or something.
No.
The Monster
not
Squad.
yeah. No, he's hardcore. That's good.
Wow.
I mean, like, and they also did say, like, The Thing, or they did.
Of course, yeah.
Oh,
One of our
classic,
favorite
yeah,
of all
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those ones are like, I'm totally fine watching those. I'm not like legally disturbed by watching those. But,
Right.
Yeah, another one that I think if you were going to do a double feature, it might be good as the other feature would be The Descent. I don't know if you're.
No, that was
Yes.
another one
Yeah.
you mentioned.
Oh, is that right?
yeah.
Oh, really?
We watched that
Also,
in Bulgaria.
great for-
Also,
yes. Great for talk about monster performances, like real
Yes,
guys
right.
in
Well,
suits.
but also
and
that
short guys.
but that cast of women and how that story evolves and how you're just and then the claustrophobic feeling of in those caves. Oh my God, that is such again, listeners, if you haven't seen The Descent, that's something you got to check
And
out.
We talk about this a lot, but one of the parallels that I see is that with both movies, there's this nice buildup. And the idea that you're going from one layer to another layer to another layer, literally.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's one of those things that I love in stories and movies, the hidden passage. And then there's a passage beyond the passage.
Yeah, and you have to do that just right too. But
Yes.
I bought the geography of this
Yeah.
film, Barbarian.
Oh.
Like I believed that they were going in these areas. Like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Like and it just gets creepier and creepier.
And the comedy that comes out of that later
Wait,
yes.
Right.
is really funny.
Yes, Justin is so funny, so good. Oh my God.
His character is great.
He's great.
I wouldn't give too much away, but it's a great character. And again, that's a great, because he kind of comes in kind of like the second or third act, and it's a little refresher at first, to see him.
Right, yeah.
Say, okay, who's this guy? Where are we going with this?
Sean,
And then-
don't you wonder, you go, what happened? Why am I here?
Right.
And then
right.
it all comes, it's,
But-
It's also a relief because I thought, okay, now we're going to be in these catacombs in the basement for the rest of the movie, but we're
Yes,
not.
yes,
So it's
right,
actually, yeah.
And thematically, the film is solid because where Justin's character is coming from, what he has done is very similar, and it relates to the crimes and history of what has happened in this house. So
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
it's
Spectrum.
really
There's a
very done.
spectrum, and then he has to like confront like the worst version of himself.
Right.
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
that there is a moment which was really, I didn't know that this was the decision he was going to make.
Yes.
And it was, and I don't want to go into, because maybe that's something I can say for
Right,
listeners
right.
to check out.
Sure.
But again, it just feeds into his issues,
Right,
or
right.
his
Yeah.
problems. And it's,
And it plays with the idea of the villain.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like always for me, people scare me more than anything. That's the one
Exactly.
thing about horror movies.
Exactly.
Like I go to horror movies to relax. because
Yeah, right, right.
real life is terrifying.
Yeah, I want to hang out with the Descent guys than anybody else.
Right. If you
You
can just
wanna
get beyond that initial,
Eating meat.
hostility,
Yeah.
You want to
Right.
hang in that cave and eat some beef jerky, don't you, Sean?
Yeah, yeah.
you get used to the smell after a while.
Get them on the Zoom. Get them on the Zoom. They'd make a great podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the little clicks and sounds they make.
Oh,
Yeah.
It means something to them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious. You say you're not a big horror guy, but I assume at some point in your life you saw the original Frankenstein or Predator or any of these kind of movies, or no, that's not your
I
cup of
watched
tea?
Predator for the first time during the pandemic. I
okay.
used the pandemic to like bone up on some things.
Right,
So
right.
I had seen Alien like once as a kid, but I
Okay.
used that to just watch all of the Alien movies.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
was great. Yeah, Predator for the first time. I actually have not seen the original Frankenstein.
Really?
Wow.
You should do
Yeah.
yourself a favor because
Yeah.
as horror goes, talk about a sympathetic creature. And then
Yes,
to you have to do the double feature, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein back to back.
Yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
like one movie.
Yeah.
Matt's
And-
right.
Yeah.
And the performances in those two films are so great and so moving and funny. Really, you should do yourself a favor. I'm telling we will
I
not
will.
steer you wrong here.
No, it's interesting because people have said, Boris Karloff is so iconic, and people know, oh, he played the Frankenstein monster. But when they talk about it, it's usually, oh, with the arms out and stuff. And that wasn't the Karloff Frankenstein.
No, that
Karloff's
was Glenn
Frankenstein.
Strange.
Yeah, Karloff's Frankenstein monster is much more animated, much more engaging, and the facial expressions that he does, and he goes from confused and blown away to anger. I mean, and he has great emotional facial expressions and stuff. He really does a wonderful job at his acting abilities. In
Right.
these
He's like a
films.
child. He's like a child.
Yeah. Yes,
Very
James.
strong child. Yeah.
Bride of Frankenstein, there are scenes in that movie that will bring you to tears. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that moving.
It's beautiful.
And there are so many films that I think are saved by the monster performance. Like everybody talks about Schwarzenegger in Predator, but that movie would not be the film that it is without the performance of Kevin Peter Hall as the Predator.
If you didn't have a convincing, moving creature, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
People know the story, Sean. We know the story of originally, the original concept was more insect-like, and it was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally
right.
cast in this different kind of suit that was going to be partially like an effect or green screening or something, and it was very different. Jean-Claude Van Damme isn't the tallest guy.
No.
So they scrapped it all and redid it, and the actor they got to play it, Kevin Peter Hall, was a very tall actor. He had been in Harry and the Hendersons playing the
Right.
Bigfoot character. He had been in this movie called Without Warning playing an alien, which was just like Predator, actually.
That's true. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the performance obviously makes a big difference.
But it's another thing too, as Sean's brought up. Sometimes there's a big name actor, an actor thing, I can put in the prosthetic, I can do
Right,
this.
right.
And what they learn is, you know what? It really takes a special kind of actor to sit there for 3 or 4 hours to put that stuff on, and then to move around and to be in it all day. Not everyone can do it.
And not everybody can do even like a character like Jason from Friday the 13th, the
Right.
different actors who have played him. Kane Hodder is probably most famous for playing the role in several sequels, but it's not just lumbering around with the axe. I mean, it's a performance, it's the little nuances, especially that you have to get right when you're behind a mask, a complete immobile mask. So, I mean, there's definitely an art to it.
Another sympathetic character too, in the beginning at least, because Jason has a very tragic
True.
origin story.
True.
And then he becomes a
killing
killer
machine.
zombie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Matthew, I did want to ask, because you mentioned the zombie in the commercial, but also you were in the Nightmare Before Christmas Live. And the thing I wanted to ask about that was, I mean, for listeners, we think of Jack Skellington as this long, skinny character and stuff. But Matthew, you put on this outfit and this makeup and you sing, you dance.
And you really made it work too.
Yeah, you brought him to
you
life.
are so
Uh-huh.
good.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that, how that came about?
Thank you. Yes, I certainly can. I mean, it's always been my dream for Disney theatricals to turn Nightmare Before Christmas into a Broadway show. I think it could totally work.
I'm amazed it hasn't yet, actually.
I know. I think it's because they have a relationship with Tim Burton, and that is really like his baby.
Okay.
And
Right.
I think he would need to, like, who knows? Maybe when he gets older and more nostalgic, maybe he'll be like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
But so that was just, I did that in an acting class. And
Really?
people freaked out and were like, we need to film it and get it to Tim Burton. And so
Wow.
that was the place where the acting class was. We just used the existing things there. And then
Wow, it looked really
It
good.
seemed like a full production. It really is.
I know people think like, oh, I didn't know this was a real, and it's like, no, it's not a real thing. We just got it for fun.
Wow.
And then I kind
Incredible.
of like, I was like happy with it ish, but kind of, I was like,
Ish.
No, it's really
Matthew,
good.
you were amazing. And I would say for listeners, if you go, what's this? The Nightmare Before Christmas Live? You can find
What's
this.
this?
Yes, you can find this on on YouTube, and when you see it, Matthew is absolutely amazing, because I know that film backwards and forwards.
Yeah, I know.
Started to do the song.
You
I'm
expect like when it ends, you're expecting to see the rest of the characters come out and do more stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
I mean, I'm a huge fan of that film too. And yeah, so I just like put it silently on YouTube. I didn't even really post it or anything, or announce it or whatever. But
right.
yeah, it's has like 5.5 million views now.
Fantastic. No, well deserved.
It's just spectacular.
But still,
And
even
speaking
despite that, Disney's where are they? Where's their plans to get into Broadway show? Come on.
Yeah, really.
And speaking of musicals,
Yes.
the ones the unofficial musicals that you've done, like Jurassic Park and of course my favorite, The Shining, the songs
That's right.
like
The,
it's a
the
mini
Overlook
musical.
Hotel song is fantastic.
It's so good, and I could easily see this being on Broadway as a satirical version of The Shining with catchy songs and you nail every nuance of what's going on in the subtext of that movie. It's just it's delightful.
Well, that was definitely a labor of love. I mean, so yeah, I have my horror blind spots, but I remember the first time I saw The Shining, and I've now seen that like a bunch of times. And that is the kind of horror movie that I really like, is just suspense and just, I don't feel good and I don't even really know why.
Yeah, that unsettling kind of.
And I feel like Hereditary did that really well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
You know, I think the reason that I shy away is I worry that I'm going to have to be subjected to things like the end of Audition, you know,
right.
or like Titan or Titane, or however you say that movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? This French movie that was in theaters.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't
Does
know
it
that.
go
I've
by
not
another
seen it.
name? I'm not.
yeah.
I'm
There's
not
something
sure.
else, but I know it's
Titane, and it's a French movie, and so that's the word for titanium in French. I don't know how you pronounce it. I would guess. Titan.
Okay. I don't think I've seen this.
No.
If y'all like, I mean, and this is particularly body horror, I would.
Oh, we love body horror.
Yeah.
So if you love feeling really bad about yourself,
I do. We all do.
Every day.
I'm an expert at it.
It's kind of our thing.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of it, because I mean, I've seen it, and I'm surprised you haven't seen it. But
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
watch
it's on
that.
Hulu now. I think it's on Hulu now. Watch it. It's just the first 50 minutes. Just don't let up. And I was in the
Oh my
theater,
gosh.
like, please stop this. And then finally,
Wow.
it stops. But it's a weird ass movie.
Wow.
We're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
one of the things I really enjoyed about the Shining musical also is that there's a Shelley Duvall crossover with one of her Popeye songs, the Nilsson song. Brilliant. Thank
So
you.
good.
Gosh,
Yeah.
you guys, I wrote this a long time ago, so it's funny to have you guys be fresh with it. You've listened to it recently. Yeah, we used He Needs Me from Popeye.
Oh yeah.
That'd be kind of, I mean, just a weird movie about a weird song about spousal abuse, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Popeye's a weird movie, but it's strangely. I
Well,
find it
it's not-
strangely compelling now, though.
Well,
Yeah.
Popeye's also a strange cartoon when you think about
Yeah,
it. I mean,
Yeah.
it clearly came from a different time,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, where you could have this comical rapist.
Whoa, wait a minute here. Are you talking about Bluto, not Popeye?
No, I'm talking about Bluto. Bluto
Okay,
was
good.
Yeah.
All right, yes.
But he's in a cartoon
He was a
for
cat.
children.
He was a cat. He was a
He was
cad.
a cad. If she won't
We should
kiss
use the
him,
word "cad" more often.
I know we got to bring cad back.
Comical rating.
It is a great word, but yeah, every cartoon, if he didn't at least get a kiss,
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
gonna
That's
kill
true.
her.
Right, that's true.
So yeah,
But
it was a
did
little
teach.
weird.
It taught us to eat our spinach.
Yeah,
True.
Which that's what I did. But we talked a bit about The Nightmare Before Christmas. So were you like a musical kid, and how did you get into the whole composing thing?
Yeah, the first like theater and acting I ever did was musicals, and then I remember the first time that I went to Broadway with my family and we saw Broadway shows, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And
How old?
Like in high school, I think.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
did you see? Like
Well-
Phantom of the Opera or Cats?
Phantom of the Opera was actually first. Like we drove to, this was like in junior high. Actually, we drove from San Diego to LA to see Phantom of the Opera. So that was actually like our first time seeing like a Broadway caliber show.
Mhm,
Then we
Sure.
finally went to New York and we saw A Funny Thing Happen on the Way, The Forum, with David Allen Greer as Pseudolus.
Wow.
It was Nathan Lane, and then it was Whoopi Goldberg, and then it was David Allen Greer. And at the time, we felt like, I think we got the best of the three.
Yeah.
Wow. Greer is
Like David
brilliant.
Allen Greer is so great. And we saw Chicago that is still running, had
Wow.
just opened, and so BB North was still in it. Joel Grey was still in it.
Wow.
Wow.
Green, incredible performances. I still remember, like, we got rush tickets, which are sometimes in the very front row, which
Mhm.
are like limited seating viewing because the stage is like above your head. And you're like
right.
right there.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of see the stage. And Joel Grey did a specific thing that was very funny to my brother and I, and we laughed at the same time because we have the same sense of humor, and loud enough where we saw his eyes dart down to us and like dart back up of just like, oh, who laughed at that? Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh,
I
awesome.
met Joel Grey.
Nice.
When I was in my 20s, I was working at this theater in San Francisco where they would put on these shows, and I worked backstage, and they were doing cabaret.
Nice.
And he was in it, and Werner Klemperer was also in the show, and so it was great hanging out with Colonel Klink and Joel Grey. And Joel Grey was the nicest. He loved to laugh, and if you did any kind of funny voice, he'd double over laughing. So he was a guy that really liked comedy, and man, what a talent.
Yeah.
So when you saw these musicals, or did you just catch the acting bug or the musical bug? You know, I want to do this. I want to go into this. And
Yeah.
is that what happened?
Yeah, for sure. And I was doing musicals in high school, and then I went to college, and then I almost majored in physics, but then I was like, I want to do the plays. So I found out too that physics is really hard. And theater, and then my friends moved to LA and I went with them, and then I don't know, just kept chugging along. I mean, and my height does put me in like a unique place. It does set me into like character roles and that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
but I was attracted initially to like tall, skinny, physical comedians, you know, I mean, like Jim Carrey or a young Jerry Lewis, or like Bill Irwin, who's like this amazing clown. And that like helped me go, oh, I don't need to feel self-conscious about my height. I could maybe for comedic purposes or whatnot. And then
John Cleese.
Yes, exactly. I'll walk all day. And then when I discovered who Doug Jones was, I was like, oh, I could use my height for perhaps scary purposes too. And so, so it's been fun to spin all those plates.
So with Barbarian now, are you open to then getting, more roles like, playing monster characters or creature characters?
For sure. Yeah. This is definitely, of all the times I've been under rubber in prosthetic, this is the highest profile, most exciting thing that I've done. So,
wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely like the wildest, weirdest thing I've done. I don't know if I'll be able to find something that is so weird. And it's, the things that I did in that movie, I was just like, every day was an adventure.
Right.
Oh boy, I did that all right. But yeah, for sure. I hope to get more of that.
Well, you
also-
say that now, but you just wait. You'll get that call from the director. We need an animal creature with 6 teats, and something really crazy will come out.
That would be
Trust me.
unfortunate if it all of a sudden was just teat rolls, just, one after the other.
Actually, so I don't know if this is like telling tales out of school or whatever, but there was going to be a new Dracula movie. It was called Mina Harker, and it was going to be
Yes.
Oh yeah, following that character. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and I was going to be the creature that Dracula turned into. It was all set to go, and then it fell through like weeks before shooting.
Wow.
They had already
Wow.
like made a cast of my entire body, and were like,
No.
creature, and they cast the entire film and everything, and then
Wow.
they got in a fight and it all fell apart. But I was like, oh, this will be a perfect follow-up to The Mother, and teats were involved in that creature.
Do tell.
There you go.
It was this beautiful design of this like 8-foot tall creature that kind of is like hunched in the corner of the room.
Was it
And-
like a bat creature or something? Was it supposed to be like he's
Bat adjacent, but it wasn't
okay?
nose a bat.
Right,
it-
right.
It had these 2 little like talon thingies.
Oh,
And
look
these-
at your fingers.
Like a demonic kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was going to be on stilts, which I have in 3 shows. I've been on stilts. They've
Oh
been
wow.
you're not tall enough. We got to have you on stilts. So when I had that meeting, I was like, I've actually been on stilts before, so I'm totally
Wow.
comfortable being on stilts. So yeah, I was going to be this 8-foot tall creature.
But why we're glossing over the teats.
It had like 3. You mentioned multiples too. It had like
Sure.
3 on one side. So it was
No.
androgynous kind of bat-like ish thing.
Wow.
It's a
was a
strange
beautiful
choice. But I love it. It's
Well, yeah, I mean,
unsettling.
at this point too, it's been done so many times that it really is like, how do we do it differently? How do we make it unique?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine being the 6'8" guy? It's like, oh, we need to put you on stilts. You're not tall enough. It's like, my
That's how I
God.
live my life. I'm
Stilts.
5'7", so I got the stilts right at the front door, and I just
So you have no problem then the balancing on the stilts, making you like 8 feet or something like that.
As long as there's 2 types of stilts. There's drywall stilts and then there's peg stilts. Drywall stilts have 2 bars that kind of make an extension of your foot, and but peg stilts are 1. And apparently in those you have to like constantly balance. You have to
right.
balance.
Oh.
Drywall ones, you can just stand there. It's just like an extension of your feet. It's like
Right.
2.5 foot platform shoes or something.
So the guys like at Universal Studios around Halloween who run at you, that's got to be the
Drywall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it both ways. Yeah, I think it just depends.
what they have lying around on the day.
Yeah, or their various abilities. Yeah, I can't do the peg ones. I haven't tried that.
Yeah, I had stilts as a kid, and they were the kind, your standard peg kind, and and you hold on to them, and and that's fun for a good 15 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna come back down and live my life normally.
I thought I was going to be a pro on stilts because, like you, I had those stilts, and I thought about my issue was because look, Matthew, I there was a time when I was a kid, I wanted to be a monster actor. I wanted to be, but I don't think I could do the rubber around my face, for hours and hours. But, I practiced on some stilts, and I thought to myself, oh, I could be a monster. But I had difficulty trying to hold your arms out while you're trying to keep the stilts under your armpits. I could never really make it work. Of course, that's a crude child way of trying to be a monster, but
Right. Well, and that's why those drywall stilts are good, because they strap to your legs, so it's hands free. But yeah, our parents got my brother and I those stilts, and we used them like a little bit, and then we're like, nah, this is all right.
Did you have a pogo stick as well?
Yes.
Yeah. It
I
usually
did
went
too.
hand in hand.
It just seemed dangerous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are at the
Both of
same
those
store.
things were trying to
Must have
kill
just
you.
been, like next to each other at the same store. That just all
Right.
parents were
Yeah.
trying to stilts this Christmas. Next Christmas, we're going pogo stick.
Was it Matt? Did you have a metal? Was it a metal pogo stick, completely metal?
Yeah.
It was. The porcelain ones didn't work so well. But yes, this was metal. And I got pretty good at it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
to the point where my crazy next door neighbor, who would literally every once in a while come out in the street and howl at the moon, saw me coming home with my pogo stick one day and went, do your pogo stick. So I got him my pogo stick and I started doing that in the street, and he went, "Arr!"
Wow.
and I went inside and
And lock the door.
yeah, and
Right.
we both got something from it.
Well, not to tout my own ability with the pogo stick, but I got so good that I could, Matt, you do this when you're jumping on the pogo stick and you wrap your knees, you kind of squeeze it together almost by your private parts, and you could let your hands go and jump on the pogo stick without holding on the handle.
Wow.
We're able to do.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I never got that far.
Okay,
I could get altitude.
sure.
But I couldn't do that. No. And
Well,
you could do that?
I was able to do that. It maybe explains a few problems that I have now, but I was able to do that. Do it with a hands-free, wrapping my legs closely, really tightly to that springy thing going up and down. But enough about me. It shows about Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew, I wanted to say also that I appreciate the fact that in Barbarian, Mother is a completely real actor in a real suit, and there's no CGI. There's
Right.
no motion capture. There's no. I mean, even some creatures, you'll see in films today, they have some CGI enhancement, or the kinds where it's completely motion capture, but which can be, if done well, if done right, it can be good. But there is something about the real actor being there on the set with the other actors interacting that it makes all the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciated that, and also about like all the violence and stuff. All of that was practical.
Yeah, all practical effects. Yeah,
that was one thing early on that Zach said too. Of like, I don't want to do anything that John Carpenter couldn't do in his day.
Right.
Right.
I want it's all practical, and here's how we're doing it all. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because reading the script, I'm like, how the heck am I going to do all of these things?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Did Bill Skarsgård talk to you at all about what it was like for because he's kind of done both. I mean, he would play physically Pennywise, but then there's also all these digital effects. But did he talk to you at all about his experience?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that scene with Bill was my first day on set. And
really?
Stuff I was shooting. And also because, like I said, I have some horror blind spots. I hadn't seen the new It's at the time. So, well, until I was cast and I knew he would be in the film. So I'm like,
right.
I'm going to watch the movies. So I had just watched the movies, and I was so impressed with his performance, obviously. And, so I was like, man, he just delivered the most iconic prosthetics performance in the past decade, no pressure.
Right.
Luckily, he was super nice and was just like, "Hey, I'm glad it's you and not me."
Yeah, right.
That's funny because I thought that myself. I thought he must be, I get to be like a regular actor and not go through all the makeup, because he went through a lot of it.
It's actually nice. It's actually nice to see him in a role like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
He is
really good.
so good. He is totally convincing.
Yep.
Loved him.
His creepy niceness, which actually isn't really even that. He's not creepy. It's just with this world that is immediately created, something's coming.
Yeah, there's something.
Yeah.
Right. Like
And what he does. Oh.
Yeah,
It's funny, Matthew. With every horror film you go, it's like, I've seen horror films. I kind of know what to expect. My wife does this all the time, where I'm sitting with her and she goes, "Oh, I know what's going to happen. Oh, I know what's going to happen. Oh," and she'll start saying what's going to happen. I say, "Stop it!" And it's like, this, what you think might happen, isn't.
But again, there are horror films where they do go off in a completely different direction, complete weird twist that doesn't work or is ridiculous, or it's like a cop out, or like a. Again, that's not the case here. It's well thought out.
Yeah, I heard someone on a podcast that Zach was doing say how sometimes a problem with a horror is so much of the suspense is about okay, what's the thing, and then when you reveal the thing, then you have 40 more minutes of movie or whatever.
Right.
And what's great about the structure that he chose was it builds up to a reveal and then just totally resets, builds back, circles back around, and builds to another reveal and then a reset. It keeps the audience guessing and keeps them interested throughout the whole thing, hopefully.
What I love about the build too is that there are some builds where it's just you're just waiting to get to that end point, whereas in this film with Skarsgård, every single moment you're just bathing in. It's just so rich with tension. Every little thing that is said is, all right, what does he mean by that? Where's that going? What are they gonna,
It really plays on the paranoia. Yeah, it plays on paranoia.
Yes, Sean.
And distrust,
Yes.
Yeah, you're like, is there a medical convention in town?
Yes, right. And 15 minutes into it, you're like, oh, this is good. This is going to take me on a ride.
I see you didn't drink your tea, so there's all that was so good. Well, it was so good.
With the mother, working within the skin of that character, were you allowed to bring your own improvisational flourishes? Like, I think this character should do this. I think this should be a part of who this character is, with physicalities or anything. Were you given
sounds?
Were you given leeway to experiment with that kind of thing?
Yeah, Zach was very collaborative, and I mean, yeah. And so when he mentioned feral children, I was sending him all the things that I was finding with all the timestamps on the YouTube videos, and was like, transcribing all the important things that I liked, and he was like, yeah, wow, we could just like have her have a tantrum, or, there's one thing where it was like one of the foster parents of one of these poor women. And he was just like this saint of a man. And he was just like, so she's a little food aggressive. She can destroy a kitchen in 2 minutes. And then it cut to their fridge, their home fridge, and it had a chain around it with a padlock on it. And I was like, this could be like in a horror movie, except it's real life about a real sad thing,
Wow.
I don't know. You mentioned sounds too. One of the first things he said was, he's like, you remember that viral cat video where that cat talks and is like, oh, Don Piano. Oh, eyes. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that, but like it was this weird cat sound where the cat is saying words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He meant by that, and was not do an impression of that cat. I don't even know if I could, but he was like something just different, something. Yeah. And so I was like, what are sounds I've heard that are just like weird and I don't know why? And then I thought of a Bjork album where he is a Inuit throat singer. And there's one track in particular off her album Medulla where I always have to skip it because it's disturbing. It's not
wow.
It involves, it's just like a and it's like external exertions and internal exertions.
Right.
And literally going like ba ba ba, like
wow.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to like mess with the inward and outward thing. And so the sounds that you hear the mother make are mostly me we had like a 5-hour ADR session. I mean, I did all the sounds on the day, but then I did the ADR. And so that was a lot of me just
It was dude, that was so disturbing. It freaked the hell out of me. The sounds and again, for listeners, if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that was just so creepy.
But those moments are when I started to feel that sympathy and realize what was going on here. Like, oh, okay, poor dear.
Not at first, Matt. Not at first.
Well, not at first. No.
Yeah, I loved that about the character. There were the two sides. There was like scary, scream, attack, and then there was the nurturing side.
Yeah, the human side.
Right.
Yeah.
When I'm in a cage in, a pit.
Is that often, Matt? Is that often?
Well, I always like to prepare myself.
Now, are you in one now?
This is where I
yeah, you look like you're in a cage.
You do, Matt. You really do.
Excuse me, I have to take a drink from my tea. The minute I'm in a cage and I know I'm a prisoner and I've got to do whatever I need to do to survive, when somebody hands me a bottle to drink from the fucking bottle. I mean,
right.
Because that's how bad I want to live. Hair on it or not. But, those are my rules.
That's what sets you and AJ, Justin Long's character apart.
All right, it's a different story. My story, I drink the bottle and we become a happy family.
Right.
Now, I this diaper thing pops into my head, Matt, and I just, well, if you're a baby, aren't you going to get changed?
Well, yeah,
True.
but I will go with the program, is what I'm saying. Whatever
You
mama
go-
wants
Right.
at the time.
You're not going to cause any problems. You're going to go with the flow.
Right.
I'm all
To
about waiting
survive.
for that door to be open and run like hell.
Right.
And I thought you were going to say, you know what? This ain't so bad. I'm getting my knees taken care of.
Who knows?
Because I know, it's like, you're like, hey, I'm on jazz hours. Look, I'm fed. I get to sleep
I got a
in.
bottle. I lose a little weight. I come out of there glorious.
You get 3 teats a day.
3 teats a day. Exactly.
Indeed.
By the way, one of your musicals was about puns, a pun contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, James is our pun master in chief here.
Our
Oh,
punster.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's like over the
You
years.
ever done a pun competition, James?
I've never heard of pun. Are these actual things? Pun competitions?
It's a real thing. There's a
Really?
book called Away with Words. That
Uh-huh.
if you're into it, I really recommend it. It's a book about the pun competition scene.
No.
Wow.
James.
Oh
They're
my.
people.
Yeah, there's one in Austin that's been going on for like 45 years. And then there's one in Brooklyn that's been going on for like 15 years. And then there are just ones all over. And some of the videos, specifically from the Austin one, are very impressive. They do these like monologues that are just packed with puns on a theme. And it's insane. And it's not good for your brain.
Now, how is this on your radar? Are you into puns yourself, or?
Well, I think I heard the author of the book on a podcast, and I was like, that is fascinating. I did not know that existed. So I read the book, and I like musicals or just stories in general about niche groups of people that care too much about a silly.
There you go.
That
Like,
sounds
one of-
familiar. like the gang here.
That's right. I'll
Right.
musicalize all you. So one of the, when we were musicalizing movies, the last one we did was the documentary King of Kong, which is also,
Oh, yes.
Right.
it's grown men.
I love that. I love that film.
Me too.
Yeah, caring way too much about
Yeah.
Donkey Kong championships. And so,
Yep.
but that wasn't our IP. It wasn't our story or whatever.
Right,
So
right.
I thought like, well, this could be adjacent, like you could have like a good guy and a bad guy and, stuff like that. And we did have a bad guy. And do you know what his name was? Brad Guy.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, we wrote an hour-long musical at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. Did it at
You
the,
also have a YouTube video about how to pronounce celebrity names, like Martin Scorsese.
oh sure,
Which,
yeah.
it's brilliant.
I learned
Brilliant.
a lot.
Yeah. And so did I, actually.
Scorsese says he says it says he.
Wow.
Says who? Says he. And then it just writes itself after that.
I don't know, James. I think you're gonna need to go to Austin. Check
Well,
this
I think
thing
so.
out.
Yeah.
James did this thing once where we were visiting my parents and we were spending the night at my parents' place. And so it's my mom and my dad, and they're pretty old. And we're trying to come up with conversation. And all of a sudden, James whips out this paper that he carries with him that has a long list of puns.
Yeah.
And like he'll every once in a while on the show, he'll throw one out and we'll go, we'll laugh or we'll groan or whatever. But this
Yeah.
time he had them and he was just rattling them off one after another. It became something beautiful. It became something glorious. And I was just, I don't know what, but you need to do something with this, James. You need to, you got to get into this scene because you could be their Pope. I mean,
Maybe dinner theater in San Francisco. I don't know.
sure.
Well,
yeah.
did Matt? Did your parents like it, or did they tell him to get out?
No, they loved it. They loved it.
Did they?
Everybody was laughing. And I'm telling you, the context of one after another,
Right. It
I
turns
think
into
there was
something
no,
else.
after a while, there was nothing could fail. because
Right, right.
there was like you knew there was another coming, and it was really
Right.
just the fact that you had so many. The fact that you had them on a list in your back pocket.
Totally normal.
James, just out of curiosity, do you always carry that list with you?
Well, now that I have an iPhone, where I can keep notes on the iPhone.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Now I don't have to have it in my wallet. Now I can have it on my iPhone. See,
That's right.
Ah.
but you never know when you're going to be in a situation where the moment calls for it. So
Sure.
there you go.
Yeah, this would be right up your alley, James. You should. There's this guy Jerry Gwizdowski. I mean, so that's an impossible name, but he has a monologue like on the countries in Asia. If you can find that monologue, you will really enjoy it. It's him talking to a girl, and he's like, "But Afghanistan up for myself," and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember any of it, but it's this beautiful, and it is just a barrage where by the end it does become a thing of beauty.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know how we would do in competition though, because that's just one of those things that it's like, you bust that kind of stuff out, nobody expects it. But if you're in an environment where there's actual competition, I don't know. I just might choke. I don't know, but I'll check it out.
I see a Rocky scenario where the first time maybe you don't quite make it, but then you come back and you've learned some things, you've had some life lessons, and now you're ready.
And then you out Mr. T.
That's right.
Matthew, you had mentioned earlier, getting back to you had mentioned how your director told you to look at footage of feral children and whatnot to get to your character. And there are other actors who were creatures or monsters who did other kinds of studying. Like we had mentioned Haruo Nakajima, who played Godzilla. He actually went to the zoo to study movement of animals to try to get down his movement. Or there were other actors who were told to go and check out other creatures or something, whether it be a tiger or a leopard or a bear or something, to try to get a good feel for their characters. And it seems like it's a common theme going on. If someone wants to really portray, how do I portray this Tyrannosaurus Rex, or how do I portray this monster? Well, you go and you check out this. And then sometimes you can tell that if someone's in a monster outfit and there's no, just go out and be scary, and it lacks a certain life. But you definitely had that feral child look or feel to your creature.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was grateful to get that in. Because as an actor, you try to find that, and so it was a great gift that Zach gave me.
You mentioned body horror. When I think of the performance that stands out the most in my mind when it comes to that, Cronenberg, of course, the king of body horror, and the king of those performances for me would be Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Oh,
right.
And I just watched recently all the extras on The Fly Blu-ray with Jeff Goldblum talking about his process, getting all those little fly movements. And
I just recently watched that, by the way, for the first time. So
is that right?
Oh,
now, what did you think of that? Did you like that? Was it?
it was great. No, and it wasn't too much for me. I mean, I think like the worst part is right when he like starts to peel his finger.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like,
well, the worst part for me was the birth scene. I could not actually watch that thing.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Even though it was a nightmare.
The worst scene for me was the arm wrestling.
Yeah, that's tough too.
Yeah.
When the
'cause
bone
it's such a
snaps
shock.
out. Because that's real. And that's the thing too, is that like with horror movies, when I'm watching someone turn into a fly, it's like, well, the likelihood that this is going to happen in my life, probably pretty rare. And so then I just marvel in all the, artistic glory that went into bringing this thing to life, and all the different suits. And if you look at all the extras on that Blu-ray, they really get into how many different suits they had for each little moment of this transformation.
Well, yeah.
And then having Goldblum act through that makeup.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah, because that was a case of where you slowly see his humanity decay away.
Yes.
It's like he starts out, he's kind of making jokes about it, but then slowly, surely, he starts to become less and less human.
It's funny that all of these things that you mentioned, all of these scenes, these are all surprises to me, something I did not expect happen. See, it's funny. For me, the biggest shock, I love the birth scene. That was one of my favorites. But what surprised me was when he regurgitates, and it happened quite so suddenly. He goes, oh my God, that's disgusting. I mean, that freaked me out. That was my moment. But it's like there's so many great little things, little scenes, that were surprises. And that's just a great performance by Jeff Goldblum. Great makeup effects. And that's all. And that is all practical effects.
All practical.
No
Again.
CG.
Yeah.
And again, Gina Davis is terrific. If listeners, you haven't seen The Fly, the Cronenberg Goldblum version, it's just terrific.
It's amazing. It's an amazing love story, actually.
And Sean,
it's kind of first and foremost a love story.
It is, but it holds up. It holds up to today's standards.
Beautifully. Yeah.
There's a nice meet cute moment. It's got everything there.
Yeah.
It's got the laughs. It's a rom-com at heart.
That's true.
I love when he's like first just discovering his strength, and that scene where he's like doing gymnastics and stuff.
Yeah. And he looks good. He's working out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in that kind of shape now, but
well, who is?
Well,
Matthew.
Why don't you just smother salt in my wound, sir?
I wasn't referring to you specifically, so but when I see a performance like that, and that's the beauty of this type of acting, where you can take something that to a lesser actor would smother them, and they would maybe want to do the one note thing, and to have someone being able to act through it. It's like going back to Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes, when they have this, at the time it was revolutionary, this makeup.
Yeah, nobody knew that was going to work.
That was going to work or not. And it did. It's so well that it spawned all these sequels. And every time I see that type of acting where you take makeup and you just bring it to life like that, it's just so impressive. And so I'm delighted that you brought another character, a new horror character to our world. It's like a new member of the family.
Yeah, I'm waiting for I'm waiting now for the mother action figure. I want one.
Yes.
Or it would just make me very happy if there were any Barbarian / the Mother Halloween costumes this year.
Oh yeah. Cosplay. Somebody might. Yeah, you never know. Hey, the movies making an impact. So
you watch it. True. Spirit Halloween. There'll be strap on teats. And
I tell you, you need to call Zach and say, hey, let's make some toys. Let's get some toys made. But it's funny.
A little play set, like
a little play set.
Looks like a little underground thing. And
Sean, you're a genius. I'd buy that.
Barbie had her dream house. This is the dream hole.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, how you mentioned Planet of the Apes and how great that was. But again, there was an actor from Escape, Sal Mineo, who, he faked out, couldn't handle it. He couldn't. I mean, yes,
he did prosthetics in the face. Yeah.
Yes.
They killed him off immediately.
Well, but it's like, it's another example of how sometimes people, actors, they think, hey, I can do this. And it's like, it takes a special kind of person to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have I don't know. I'm just good at sitting and just chilling out and just relaxing. I don't know.
Matthew?
I'm not on my phone while it's happening. I'm just sitting there watching it occur. I always liked looking in mirrors, as a kid. At the dinner table, the family dinner table, I was seated across from a window that would reflect, and my family would be irritated because I'd be mugging in the reflection.
Nice.
She and my brother.
Born actor.
There is a relationship to that. You're just sitting there, just looking at yourself in the mirror as you slowly transform into a completely different person over 3 years.
Yeah.
So Matthew, I got to ask this. Halloween is coming up. Do you dress up? Do you do anything fun on Halloween?
I think I'm left to my own devices a little bit of a Halloween dud. I think because I do it professionally. I think I'm just I'll leave it.
You just take the day off.
Yeah, I don't know, but I look forward to. I'm going to go to see Danny Elfman at the Hollywood Bowl this Halloween.
Great!
That'd be
awesome.
I think you should get in your costume and run up on stage.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well. You know,
No
everyone
one
will
will
think
have a problem with that.
Costume, the mother or Jack Skellington. Just
sure.
then
True,
you
No,
would
that would be hilarious for you to run up as the mother and then start singing.
during the dead man's party song.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. For listeners who can't see Matthew, I just wanted to point out, Matthew, as you're talking and you're using your hands and I'm seeing your fingers, you have these really long extended fingers. And I just love how you talk and how you move your hands and stuff. Doug Jones had mentioned that back when he was starting to act and stuff, he did a lot of miming. And he did a lot of stuff with his hands and stuff. Did you do anything like that too? Or have you embraced that? Or did you just naturally have that skill?
Yeah, I think I was attracted to physical comedy and like clowning and that kind of thing. Like not literal white face clown, but and not literal white face mime, but like commedia dell'arte or whatever. Or like I loved my masks class in college, so you talking about like Jason or like most recently the Black Phone, that's
it's a creepy mask.
Right,
Yeah.
performance. And like if it's a static mask, like
you're
head
right.
down or to the side can just you're holding your hand can just communicate so much. So I that's one thing I love about like prosthetic.
V for Vendetta is another example of that.
The Guy Fawkes.
Yeah, you're right though. It's such a subtle thing, but it's just a different way of acting. But it's amazing what you can get out of it.
But Matthew also did I think it was a Godfather thing. James, did you notice that? Yeah. So what was that? You, Matthew, you did.
Me?
Yes.
Just now?
Your facial expressions are so good when you did your.
You mean just now in the Zoom?
Yes.
I mean, I guess and also this is a mirror too. I'm looking at myself right now.
I'm
just mugging for myself.
And you do a very good Ace Ventura, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
That was something where when Ace Ventura came out, it changed the way I move my face forever, maybe. And like when I was a kid, like in high school, like our home videos and, my parents going like, so Matthew, what do you think of Hawaii? And I'm like, pretty good. Fun, so yeah. And then randomly I've gotten to do that on 2 Comedy Central shows, Sarah Silver's program and the Tosh.0. They needed specifically an Ace Ventura impersonator.
Nice.
And then each time I did that too, people thought that's what I do.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't do like corporate gigs.
Right.
Maybe I'm leaving money on the table. Who knows?
Spend the day with Ace Ventura.
That's funny.
That's great. Well, we got to really thank you for everything.
It's been wonderful.
It's been great talking to you. It's been great hearing about your experience with all this. And I'm telling you, discovering all the things that you do, the songs for the Disney show Tots, I'm listening to those songs. I'm like, man, this guy is talented. These songs are so catchy. As a kid, I would have been bopping to this like all day long.
But Matthew, you've done an amazing job in this film, and you've done a lot of really cool stuff. But I feel that stuff is really going to blow up for you. I feel like we got Matthew just before he's really taken off doing all kinds of other creature things.
We got to see the face behind the mother.
Covered up again.
Has there been any talk about a sequel?
Or a prequel maybe.
Prequel. I can see a prequel.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, don't tease me. And I'm like, that's my joke is, I'll finally get the Hollywood experience of being replaced by a younger woman.
Hey, wait, Matthew, what about a musical version of Barbarian? Get on that right now.
That was also my joke. Have you all seen the movie Dancer in the Dark? Bringing it back to Bjork, but Bjork.
Oh no, I know that. Yeah, right.
It's like a very disturbing thing, and it's like the concept of that is anytime something horrific happens in her life, she like disassociates and it becomes a musical.
Right.
Slammed back to her harsh reality. And I was like, oh, that could be it for the mother. You know, if you just have,
true. She could live in like a musical world.
Yeah, a musical on a loop instead of that baby video. And then like Frank does something horrible to her, and then she just like, and Busby Berkeley, baby.
There's so much of a really interesting and twisted backstory that this I hope this film does well enough for you guys that you can explore doing a prequel, because I think that's a great idea, and I'd be there. You'd get my $14 definitely.
And the fact that you have, because of this movie, you've watched a lot of what we consider really great horror movies. If you ever need some more recommendations,
we're here.
We'll make a list for you, because there's a lot of stuff out there that, man, if you can take Hereditary
or Audition,
well, we wouldn't go. I think Audition's kind of the wall, isn't it?
Yeah. I am curious if I can watch that again. Like, I did watch Hereditary twice.
Wow.
I was able to watch it again the second time and really appreciate it and be less scared, but just be like, this is so good, and the performances are so good, and everything's so good. So I think I could maybe watch Audition again.
Have you seen Midsommar?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. That's also pretty intense.
Human Centipede?
No. I feel like that's not in the canon, right? I mean,
not in my canon.
Yeah.
So, look, Matthew, now that Barbarian has
about canon or canon.
Right. But now that Barbarian is exploding, is there anything that you're working on or that you could tell us about that you've got cooking in the wings there?
Well, I've co-written some songs for a Disney Channel show called The Ghost and Molly McGee. That is going to be, the second season's going to come out at the beginning of next year. I co-wrote those with Rob Cantor, who is the series songwriter for that show. And then, I don't know. I have like, these are funny plugs because they don't relate to Barbarian at all.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's all right.
While I was preparing to go play a naked feral woman, writing a kid's album of songs about dogs for this.
Your "I Love My Dog" song is hilarious.
Yeah,
thank you.
I love it.
All of them.
Because all that you say about it is true about our dog. She also has breath like a sewer, and but she's adorable, and
Sure, yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that was like a song that I just wrote for my dog, but then like I was approached by my music manager about like this kid's audio device or whatever. They're like, do you have any long form audio content for kids? I'm like, no. But I was like, I did just write a dog song, and I did write I could write some dog songs for kids. So anyways, I wrote an album of kids songs about dogs called I Love My Dog.
Oh, I love the sniffing song.
Oh, you've heard that? Oh, you probably heard like the little mashup thing that I did on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to promote too, because it's like, all right, if you have kids, buy this thing for $100, and then buy this thing for $10, and then you can listen to my album. Here for entry, but whatever. Maybe it'll
Fantastic.
be
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we love everything you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
To be able to say that and
mean it.
Yeah.
You're an amazing talent. Seriously, to do something as creepy and amazing as that, and then do something as so cute and charming as the dog song. You're an amazing talent. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't we give a toast?
A toast
To
Matthew
Patrick Davis and monster acting.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
The mother of all shout outs.
Oh, you stole my joke. Wow.
Oh.
Sorry.
Guys, I have a very special shout out.
Okay.
Special.
And you are not expecting this.
Uh-oh.
But this shout out is to the Monster Party podcast, which on October 3rd, 2012, almost 10 years ago,
Oh my God.
was made public for the very first time with our very first YouTube video.
No.
Back before we were a podcast, when we were a YouTube show, a fledgling YouTube show, with our first episode, Big Large Monsters, which premiered on YouTube on October the 3rd, 2012. So October 3rd, 2022 being the 10-year anniversary of Monster Party.
Wow.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, guys.
That's kind of amazing.
And in prime form, I forgot it.
Well,
Well, I don't think I've done anything consistently for 10
You
years.
didn't get me anything, so I know that. But
Wow.
but yeah, and,
years,
you know, it's
guys.
amazing.
Impressive.
Since that first episode, it's gotten over 25 viewings. It's amazing.
And after all that time, I've kind of started to warm up to you guys. So it's nice.
I know, really. We're a
It takes
slow
a
burn.
minute,
We
you
really
know.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but,
We keep trying
again,
to fire you, and it just doesn't take.
we thought we'd start as a YouTube thing, and we realized that
Yeah,
the editing was going to take too long. So Matt,
And then
was
no
like,
one
"Hey,
wanted
let's
to
do a
look up your shorts and see your
Oh,
GONIS balls.
Oh,
we were all
your,
gonna
your
pass
gonads.
we were all
Oh.
sweating. We were all gonna pass out from the heat of your
The heat
place.
in my living room, yeah. At the time. And then like Matt was like, "Hey guys, let's do a podcast instead." And I was like, "What the hell is a podcast?"
That's crazy. What are you?
What audio?
Yeah, audio.
Podcasts aren't taking
listens to
off.
things.
Nobody, there's no podcasts.
That's a myth. It's an urban legend.
Yeah. Wow.
And
No, that's
Since
great.
then we were a podcast. So, but
Yeah.
technically October 3rd is our kind of birthday. So
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, 10
I
years.
remember that, and I remember the vodka. Yeah, you got out some of your top shelf vodka.
Well, first it was like my Rite Aid vodka that I would get for $8, and Matt gagged on it. It's like, "You have anything else?"
Yeah, what is it?
Fred's
they-
vodka.
I didn't know they made a clear Listerine.
And that's right, James. You were wearing shorts. You were
I was
wearing
wearing-
shorts.
And
Yeah,
by
you're
the way,
like Brian
listeners,
Wilson.
and listeners, you can check out this episode.
You
by the
can
way.
still
If you
check
want.
it out.
You can go
You know
down memory lane. See us so
Yes.
young and agile, and
I think we all had more hair back then.
yes.
Oh no, I still have the same amount.
No, you do
Oh,
actually.
wow.
No, I do not.
Okay.
But you do. You're right,
I
Larry.
do not either.
I
No,
lost-
yeah.
You have a nice
Three
mane of
strands.
hair, Larry.
Yeah.
Too. I'm
Yeah.
Thank
jealous.
you, Sean. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But I remember that time. I do. And then you tried to give me the shitty vodka, and then you got like I forget what it was. It was something good though.
Grey Goose. I think we had
It was great. Was it Grey Goose?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
There
it
you
was
go.
Grey Goose.
Wait, did you not give Matt the good vodka at first?
No,
I
not
wasn't
at
giving
first.
any of you
That's
guys.
so
the good
rude.
No, he used to.
No, you
Well, that
know,
was the day. You still do that thing where all of a sudden you'll have like you'll bring
The
like an
bargain
empty
basement
shampoo
approach.
bottle
yeah.
filled with vodka that you made in a
Right.
kit.
And you could barely still taste the soap.
Yeah, right.
Or a freeze-dried cheeseburger from McDonald's that
And
you
then
take
I
out.
remember
for
remember
breakfast.
making my
you
drink.
remember that?
He gives me the top shelf vodka, and now I'm making my drink, and I pour the vodka in, and I remember James going, "Jesus Christ!" Like I poured too much in.
Like
Hey,
that.
it's a party. It's a monster
Are you
party.
going crazy? What? Is this last weekend? No, I'm just. I have to talk to you
Days
guys.
of wine and roses.
Right.
Well, we've come a long way, haven't
That's
we?
true.
Now he
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we don't
Yeah.
judge each other's drinking. We just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, that was very
There
nice.
you go.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, everybody.
Woo. And hey, let's remind our listeners that Monster Party merch is available on our eBay store, and we have relatively fresh merch from our last Monster Palooza.
It's
We got-
fresh.
It's fresh. We have the new Monster Party T-shirt that we made special for Monster Palooza.
That's
But
right.
that now
yes.
you can own.
Exclusive.
Yeah,
you
the
can own
green
from-
kaiju design.
by
right.
Garrick Robertson.
Eric Robertson
Right.
artwork, co-creator of The Boys.
That's right.
Indeed, beautiful and in various sizes now, so there's not as many limitations on the size.
That's right.
So get them while they're still available in different sizes.
Yeah, we don't have
And
I don't think we have any more triple
X,
extra large. Yeah,
right.
but
we've got
we got double
X.
X. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, shot glasses, beautiful little shot
the
glasses
shot
with the
glasses.
Monster Party logo. They're
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you could pour vodka in it and then have someone go, Jesus Christ.
Now they're not
You can-
dishwasher safe. You need to hand wash these, okay?
You need to hand wash them. You got to be careful. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
It's a shot glass. That's not difficult.
No.
Also,
Yeah.
loving care. You should take care of this thing.
Yes.
and the Monster Party cap, the legendary Monster Party cap, back in stock on
Oh,
our
yeah.
eBay store, Monster Party store. 18 billion stitches, Larry. Is that
No.
right? 18, but no. A lot of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I could have sworn it was 18 billion.
Yeah.
This bit never gets stale.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
It's like
that's a
it's like
perennial.
who's on first. It's fresh every
Yeah.
time.
That fresh.
How many stitches, Larry? How many
Like
stitches?
12,000 stitches.
Oh,
You know,
I
it's-
gave up
That's a
counting
lot.
after
Isn't that enough?
11,000.
It is.
Well, guys, isn't that enough?
It is a high quality cap.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful cap. It is a beautiful cap.
That's all we're saying.
It's not like a sticker. It's individual stitches.
Oh, yeah. It's not like
Now
just
they'll
some
want
label that
stickers. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
Oh. Last but not least, the Monster Party PPE cloth mask.
Oh,
Which-
yes.
You know, technically, some might say the quote unquote pandemic is over, but
Really?
that doesn't mean that
I heard
this
that from
mask-
somewhere.
This mask is still a high quality item.
It's
beautiful.
so good. It really is
Yeah.
well made. And,
Yeah.
buy one and then just take it off. You know,
Just for the
that
thrill.
act will be,
Yeah.
cathartic.
Look, the funny thing is you can use this for a lot of
You can
different
use,
things.
yes,
So,
there's so many uses.
yeah, and also I think even though I think people are now more aware of, well, maybe if I have a little sniffle or something, I could wear this mask and I'm not spreading it,
It's
to
just
people.
being,
So
Right.
being
it's being
courteous.
courteous.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Exactly.
But you could do a lot of things with it. If you are on a diet and you're trick or treating, you can use it as a little bag for your candy. It'll hold maybe
Sure.
2-3 fun size bars.
Or if you're eating too much candy, put it on your face and then
it'll
you try to
stop
put
you
the
from
candy
eating.
in.
Very
Yeah.
good. See, it'll
Yeah.
stop. You'll lose weight with this
That's right.
mask.
It's
And
It'll
great for
stop
weight
you
loss.
from eating. There's no way food can get through there whatsoever. If you
And
want to
it's-
pour maybe gravy, it's possible.
It's got these little straps for your ears, like
The
these masks
straps.
tend to do. And what you can do
Remember
is
how
you can
masks used to be with no straps, and they
You
would
can-
just you put them on your face and they just fall off. You have
Yeah.
to
Well,
keep
you-
doing that
that-
all day.
but with these
Who
straps,
wants that?
you can flip the cloth over to the top of your head in case it's raining. And you can still
right.
use the straps on your ears. So
Well,
it is
yeah.
multifunctional.
True.
Yeah. Oh. Man, now I want one now.
See?
Uh,
See? And look, it's easy to find. You go on eBay, it's our Monster Party store, which is called, you guessed it, Monster Party Store. And if you happen to be a Patreon member, we will throw in free goodies courtesy of Biff Bang Pow Toys and Jason Lindsay and creature creator extraordinaire Ted Haynes. Friends of the
Right.
show, very generous.
Great guys.
Wow, yeah. They have monster-sized hearts.
That's right.
Indeed. And I don't know what it is. I must be getting older because I forget every 2 weeks I have to ask you this. What is this deal with what's Patreon all about? What the hell is this Patreon thing, Matt?
I have no idea.
Go-
Not
no,
no. I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no clue. So
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave because
I'm gonna look it up. Hold on.
I'm not the
Monster
only one
Party,
then.
I'm on Monster Party Wiki. Okay, here we go.
Ooh.
Okay. Patreon, from what it says here, is this platform that if you join it, you will have an opportunity to have access to all this wonderful bonus material that Monster Party has produced. And so we're
Ooh.
talking special audio episodes. We're talking TV show. Well, I guess TV. Is it really a TV show?
We're
Special
multimedia. Right.
that-
Videos.
And they're shows. They're shows like Monster Party Masterpieces,
Oh, great
Hmm.
show.
where you get to see all the films that we've made in our
Yeah.
past. Mostly
Let's not-
Larry, but we're gonna eventually weigh in. But
Well, Larry's Toy Time.
Larry's
That's a
Toy
great
Time
show.
is a
Toy
great
Time?
show. You get to see all of Larry's stuff. And you know what? We, unlike Larry, to us, we love looking at Larry's things because that's what he's told us, that we should enjoy looking at his stuff. And so that's what we do. And so you can get in on this as well. And we've also got these audio collections that my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux, has edited. These wonderful, they're like pulp writers of horror and science fiction. And he puts these collections together and it's wonderful. And then we have, I guess, what's soon coming to an end, the legendary Japan trip videos, the raw footage.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know. But James has been doing a wonderful job of editing these things. Yeah, it's like you're a fly on the wall in Japan with us.
You're with us in Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
experiencing what we're experiencing. And it's you'll feel like you're yelling at us as well. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of bang for your buck. And if I were you,
And-
I'd want to get in on this.
I don't know, Matt. I mean, I hear
Okay, here
interest
we
rates.
go.
Interest rates are going up. There's
Oh, the
inflation,
interest
gas
rate. Oh, that's your
prices,
excuse.
The Queen died. Things
the
are out of
Queen.
whack right now. How can anybody afford such an embarrassment of riches? That's what I want to
That's right.
know.
I
It
don't know.
sounds completely unaffordable.
Well, completely unaffordable. No. If you
No?
don't have $5, then yes, it's unaffordable. But if you have
$5?
if you have $5,
Wait a minute. Are you
Then-
telling me
then
$5?
you can join.
What you can't even you can't even
what are you, Jimmy?
you can't
Stewart?
even you can't even buy a used soiled baby bottle for that price.
If you get one with hair on the teat, it will knock a couple cents off it.
Okay.
But,
All right.
Wow.
but yes, it's
That's good.
$5. That was
That's
a long, roundabout, convoluted, somewhat semi-humorous way of saying yes, it's $5.
Semi.
Well, that's a deal. I can afford that.
Yes, yeah, you can. And so this is what you got to do. You got to take that $5 that you've been holding on to, and you got to put that in some account where we can get at it. And then you go to patreon.com and you go to Monster Party and you click join, you follow the instructions, and then, they'll ask you for the information to get to that $5. You're probably going to want to put some more fives in there if you want to continue to be with Patreon. But then once you've done all this and you've gone through all the red tape and bureaucracy, finally you're in. And
Wow.
then you can look at all your friends and go, see, I matter.
But it's also, Matt, it's also supporting us, supporting Monster Party so we can continue to bring you great stuff.
And that's how you matter. See, because you're doing something for us. You're helping us. And we want to reward that in any way we can in our tiny, humble ways. But of course, I mean, we appreciate all our fans and anybody who wants to help us with $5. You're aces with us.
And just let listeners know, we're not posting this on YouTube or anything. This is just for
It's
them.
exclusive.
Right.
Just for them.
Yeah.
Right.
So after this 20-minute diatribe about why you should join Patreon doesn't convince you, then I don't know what else to give you. I don't know.
And
I guess
phones are open now, and we have Tony Orlando. Tony
Orlando is on right now. Yes. Uh-huh.
So
And we
get
are
out your
taking-
checkbook.
Yeah, none of this pledge nonsense. We want the dough.
Right.
Let's remind our listeners that we are on social media. On Facebook at Monster Party TV.
Uh-huh.
YouTube is also Monster Party TV. And as we mentioned before, we do have free videos on YouTube. Now we are posting each episode streaming for free on YouTube, but we also have early videos before we were a podcast. And now they're all arranged in playlists. So you can go on and watch our very earliest videos from 10 years ago when we were sweating in my living room.
It's
and
pretty sexy stuff,
shorts.
folks.
And we had hair. I had hair. And we did stuff from Comic-Con back then, which is a lot of fun. I really, and a lot of highlights from our Japan trip are on there. I wholeheartedly recommend that listeners check that out, because if you haven't yet, it's a treasure trove of riches. So
it is.
That's our YouTube channel, and that's Monster Party TV. We're also on Twitter at Monster Party HQ, Instagram, also Monster Party HQ. And listen, whatever platform you're listening to us on, please take a moment, write us a review. It's been a while since we've had a review. We would love to hear your thoughts, and we will read it on the air.
But if you send us a review, please deliver it in the shape of a T. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And celebrate great monster acting.
And if you plan on visiting Detroit, make sure it's in Bulgaria.
This is a safe space. Thank you so much.
You got it. You got it.
Are we talking spoilers about Barbarian?
I think
we have to be. I think we have to be careful, right?
This is no. This is what I think. I think that we should say, look, folks, there's going to be some spoilers here.
Well, I think we could go as far as saying that there is a monster in the film. Matthew plays a monster. We don't have to go beyond that as far as the plot device, right?
I mean, yeah, because my character itself is a pretty big spoiler.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but to say there's a monster in it, I think is okay, right? I mean,
is it?
I think we should spoil myself.
Because then it means you can't hear all my stories about my boobs.
No, I say
that's what I've been wondering. After I saw it, I have questions about his boobs. You know
what? Matt, can I call you Matthew or Matt, or what's the
Matt?
Matt, okay. From one Matt to another.
Well, what do I call you then?
You can call me the
dickhead,
buddy.
Weinster. You call me Chief.
Weinster?
Yeah.
The wines master.
Yeah. The wine holder. Yeah. Now,
the Weinstein, the Harvey Weinstein.
No. We've moved past that, sir.
We've been begging to be canceled forever. So
no. I've already had my Les Moonves thing done at me. So I don't want to do.
Wow.
So ever since I saw Barbarian, those boobs have just been like they put a spring in my step. They really did. They
haunting your dreams or nightmares, but no, just like a good little.
They wake me up like one hits me from one side and then the other. And it's like, hey, wake up.
See, this is stuff I want to ask him during the thing.
We're going to do this. We're going to do this on the air. And it's fine.
It has to.
This is all. Hey, Larry, you remember this comes at the end of the show after we've been talking.
Okay. All right.
There we go. All right. So now, once again, this is what we do. We kind of bicker occasionally, but the focus is always on you and everything that you do.
Great. And then James and Shawn are pretty quiet.
Right now.
Whoa, no.
At the moment, we'll chime in.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't get James to shut up.
Okay, all right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, just FYI, do I sound okay with my...
You sound terrific.
Okay, good. Okay, good length.
I love how everyone sounds.
Okay, good.
All good? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, the sounds in my cans are, it's a smooth beat. I like it.
So Matthew, just to give you an idea, we'll probably start out, how did you get into this and kind of how your origin story kind of a thing, so we can get into it, which will lead us.
Is there any other spontaneity you want to remove from?
No, I want to help. I want to help
At
Matthew
about
Patrick.
32, we'll be veering off into personal anecdotes.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
So
So
you see the script of everything I should say, right?
no.
It's been faxed over, and
No,
yes,
no,
I did
it-
say facts.
It's free flowing, but Matthew Patrick, just to let you know, I'm looking for maybe we want to get to maybe about 70, 90 minutes worth. If
Is
you
that
feel up to
possible?
that, is
But
that
as long
okay?
as
Well,
you
then
want.
let's get going.
Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah.
love it. I love that. See, that's what
All right.
Sean does. Comes
I'm
in
the
here
taskmaster.
and he
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
things going.
Have you noticed he's been getting really nasty lately, hasn't he?
If you mean efficient
Is that what it is?
and not buying into your bullshit anymore, then
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Efficient. That is
Mr.
okay.
Efficient.
That's my
his
new
name now.
moniker.
That's his name.
That's true.
All right. So I'm going to start this and then we'll just get right to it. How about that?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. A moment of silence and then I'm going to go right to this.
Go for
So
it.
Matthew Patrick, just wait for us to get into you, okay?
I'm gonna wait. What's your middle name? You don't have to call me Matthew. Patrick.
Yeah, just call him Matt, Larry.
Matthew? How about Matthew?
Sure, we could distinguish. We could Matthew, and you could.
Yeah,
do
that'd be a good idea.
That makes sense.
Beautiful. I love it. I love that.
And call me Maddie, just for
Great.
help.
No, we're calling you Mr. Efficient
Okay.
or efficiency for short.
Efficiency advisor.
Efficient. Okay, let's do this. Here we go.
Although,
And another thing about Patreon.
although there was something I just had to share with you guys because I drove by the other day and it bugged the shit
So is
out
this
of me. So
real?
I had to get this off my chest because I was in the South Bay the other day and I was driving and I drove by this place and it bugged me and I just had to get it off my chest. I drove by a place that had a sign that said lice clinic. And I'm like, I know that, in this day and age, all creatures are precious and when we have to be considerate, but
Sure.
aren't these things pests? Aren't these things parasites? Lice
Right.
clinic? Aren't we supposed to be killing these things and not nursing them back to health?
Right? Yes.
Lice clinic.
Lice clinic.
I don't want my tax dollars going to this shit.
Okay, so James.
I thought this was going to be like a joke punchline at the end, but is this for real?
So James, that whole pun contest?
And another thing, I was in the dollar store the other day,
Yeah.
and I see diabetic socks.
Uh-huh.
How the fuck can socks be diabetic? They don't have blood. It's socks. What is this bullshit?
We're clean. No.
Oh,
Wow. You know what? If I didn't have other things to do, I could listen to you all fucking night. Because
That was surreal.
God forbid
Let
I'm going to stomp on your comedic dream. I want to see where this 3-minute chunk goes.